We were watching Super Nanny a couple weeks ago. The family had 2 young boys, and as she was observing, she comes across this shadow box with the picture of a premature baby and his little blanket. The youngest boy explains how the baby came out of mommy before him and his brother did and didn't live. Later in the episode, she addressed parenting out of anxiety. Loss changes us. When we lose our elders, it brings us closer to the reality of our own mortality, the mortality of our parents, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters. When we lose our babies, it heightens the awareness of the ability to lose our children. It truly brings home the fragility of life, especially the lives of our living children. So we hover, to varying degrees. Sometimes it's making sure that they stay within arm's reach. Sometimes it's micromanaging. Sometimes it's going over each possible risk, trying to avoid them altogether. Unfortunately, after loss, a solid portion of us develop anxiety. Up to 40%, according to the National Institutes of Health. 38% of women report PTSD symptoms 3 months after the loss, as opposed to 28% 1 month after the loss. This is where research has taken me off my original topic. This is what made me upset. Why aren't we screened for these things after our losses? Are we meant to navigate these things alone? Are mental health professionals up to date on the psychological effects of loss, although it's early? Just because there was probably something wrong with it doesn't make it any less of a baby that I had hopes for, dreams for, and love for. The idea definitely doesn't take away the panic that ensues almost monthly and the triggers that require grounding. It's a heartbreaking reality that we really need to change. This is why we need to destigmatize loss in hopes for change regarding our mental health. Why are we not being screened for anxiety, PTSD, depression after our losses? These rates are high. Miscarriages happen up to 25% of known pregnancies. But just because it happens frequently doesn't make our mental health less important. This does impact our children. Our anxiety can pass on to them. Hovering over our children can lead them to be less independent and cause them to also have anxiety. I've done talk therapy. Where it's been okay, the gym has been my safe space for me to get out all of my anxious and negative energy. But even then, there are still triggers for me. They still cause me to ground myself with the 5s. 5 things I can see, 4 things I can touch, feel, so on. They're slowly becoming more manageable. It is a process. We can change this. Tell me how you've managed to cope with your anxiety. Also, tell me how you think we can collectively come together to better screen for these things post-loss. And as always, thank you so much for listening.